You. There you are. Click. And we're live. It is Monday, January 24th, 5:03 p.m. And I had to replace an HVAC today. And I'm pissed off about it because I woke up this morning not just a few $1,000s richer than I am now, but like a bunch of them, because large numbers of people had to show up at my house, remove the entire heating system, put in a different heating system. And so and then, the house has been cold the last few days because we don't have heat. And so I am lying on the couch, stewing about my troubles. And, also, I didn't have a guest for tonight, so I did two things in honor of my two colleagues on the show today. Number one, I sent a grumpy text at Virginia that said, "I assume you're joining us on In Lieu of Fun tonight," to which she responded, "Why, yes, I am." That made me happy. And the second was in honor of Scott. I launched a new feature on my Twitter feed, which is the daily trolley problem. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it daily because it actually took some doing.
I loved today's. I thought today's one was just actually so simple and elemental, and I'd be surprised if you were the only one to come up with that, but I have never seen it before. And I just thought it was a really strong showing.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm going to be working on these. It is a handicap in this new endeavor that I can't draw and I'm not funny. But so I figure political cartooning is really like that's a stretch for me. So I'm going with it. There's the people who can't write a tune and don't have a way with words, who become folk singers. So I thought if they can do that, then I can do cartooning.
Wait, you're drawing trolley problems? I mean, you don't need it. You need low realism when it comes to problem, right? You don't want someone to affect onto the wrong thing out of their emotions and have an artistic experience. You're basically writing numbers when you draw.
I agree, but you're underestimating just how bad my drawing is.
Well, can we go over the problem, or do you guys just blow past the trolley problem?
Okay, no, we can go through what I did today.
Wait, Virginia, are you asking, should we just state what the trolley problem is in general and then talk about that, or are we just saying just go to Ben's?
Yeah, I want to go to the new one.
Oh, okay. So I just, for everyone out there, just to be, so a trolley is barreling down the track and it's about to hit 5 people who are tied on the track. And you're the switch man, a switch person, okay? And if you pull the switch, the train will be the trolley, will be diverted and will go on to another track where it will kill one person. So are you permitted or are you required, in fact, to pull the switch?
Can I sidebar on the trolley problem very quickly and relevant?
Yeah, we always sidebar on trolley problems on this show. That's actually one of the distinguishing features of the show.
I pulled the switch as the switch woman to a little divergent. My son was singing that song, Casey Jones, you better watch your speed, yesterday. And I remembered that Casey Jones is a relative of mine, or at least so they said. Who is Casey Jones? Casey Jones is also immortalized in the song Casey Jones mounted to his cabin, Casey Jones something. And I had been told that he, not the Grateful Dead one, but the historical figure Casey Jones, was a hero of the railroad who had made some incredible, excellent decision while driving a train. But my son wouldn't let it go at that and just say, "Oh, that's awesome. You're related to someone." I was singing a song. He was like, "How can you be a heroic train engineer?" you just go fast or slow. Like there's not a lot of whatever. I was like,
no, they steer. They have to stay on the tracks.
I saw a chance because I always want him to like prefer my family to his father's family. So I saw a chance to create a real hero in his mind, and I was like, you know, the trolley problem. Casey Jones is actually the original switchman, and in fact, anytime the trolley problem is used, the cop, you know, so we get royalties in the family because he's the one that made the good decision.
And did he buy that?
We went on about that for a long time, and then when I saw that you guys were about trolley, this was yesterday, and I'm not like exaggerating it to make it like a good Johnny Carson story. We had this yesterday. Then I see you guys are all about trolley problems, and so
well, Scott's all about trolley problems because he's a philosopher. I'm just a lowly political cartoonist as of today.
You must know about Casey Jones's work. So
Yes.
Like not many philosophers have their hand on an actual switch. Casey Jones did, and he saved a girl.
That's called applied philosophy.
I think that's also called having a job. But first of all, I just want to say that this is like a brilliant connection, and I'm so glad that not only that you brought it up here, but you brought it up with your son. It's an incredibly interesting thing about, because Casey Jones to me only is a figure from that Grateful Dead song. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that it like that.
Much less that he had relatives,
right? Or,
you know, like,
or that he was a deontological theorist.
That's right.
Always.
I can put it down because none of my relatives are like his dad's relatives are like rich and successful. But so I found one, but then he was just going to be a lowly engineer writing an op.
Then just you have DMs showing. So.
Oh yeah, my DMs are showing. Okay. Anyway, you were saying, Virginia.
Yeah, please.
Oh, it's just so Casey was a switchman, not a locomotive engineer. Someone asks. Actually, I fear that he is just an engineer, but I wanted to hype him up. And if you put in Casey Jones and read the Wikipedia entry, it is. I don't know if they were just short. It was like a slow news decade. Casey Jones. He's like a pop star. He's an engineer. He's the future of the country. He's debated. He's anyway.
Okay, but is the fact that he is his lineal descendant, Virginia Heffernan?
Yeah.
Is that in the Wikipedia article?
That is a very good point. I'm going to have to make that work. There might be some me switch.
Assignment for the Greek chorus. Edit the Casey Jones Wikipedia page so that it connects to the Virginia Heffernan Wikipedia page with a genealogy. Because
let's dignify the whole thing with the words trolley problem.
That's right. That is the challenge. Who is up to it? All right, now that you've all had a good look at my DMs, here is today's daily trolley problem. See, here we have Casey Jones, which is in the conventional trolley problem, how we imagine it. The trolley is... See, notice that this part with the trolley and everything and the switchman, that's like from somebody else. The only parts that I drew are the parts of people tied to the thing, and there's no artistry there. You can't even tell which of their arms and legs, because everything I draw looks like it was drawn by a kindergartner. Yeah. So that's the way we conventionally imagine the trolley problem. But here in the second frame, we have real life, where you are not the switchman. You are just some guy helplessly on the trolley, with no agency at all in what happens. You're just looking out like an Edvard Munch painting. You actually sketch, you can't even see what's going on the track. You just know in this horrified way that it's bad.
Right, in the trolley problem, you're the switchman person. Right? In real life trolley problem, you're the passenger.
You're just along for the ride. Think about it. That's the invasion of Iraq, right? You're not Dick Cheney who like gets to decide, okay, is there weapons of mass destruction, or you know, do we have to treat Saddam Hussein like an existential threat? That's the fucking switch, man. We were all just on the goddamn trolley.
Like, Colin Powell, you know what? He makes a lot of sense.
Yep. Exactly.
Wait, but okay. All right, on the trolley though, here is a problem that underlies a lot of philosophical problems, Scott, I address to you. The person being asked to make a moral decision already has a profusion of agency that no one has in real life. So the guy that's asked, like, where did my wife go so I can rape her, or whatever that thing is. What is it? It's not really that. It says axe murderer wants to go whatever way. Like, you never get asked by an axe murderer which way to
That's right. Then they don't wear shirts that label themselves.
So, right. And so once you're asked to solve a philosophical problem, you are assumed to have all this power to solve it that you would never have. So maybe the problems assume too much about the subject, like way too much about the subject.
All of which is a really philosophically complicated way of saying that we are not allowed to have fun anymore. We're actually a quarter of the way through the show before we finish the intro, but that is because we are allowed to have Virginia Heffernan, one of the early guests on the show. She has come back over and over because we love her dearly. If you have not yet listened to her interview with Jamie Raskin, it is an amazing example of the art of the interview, and you should do so. Virginia, welcome back.
Thank you, Ben. I really like being on this. It's just such a nice way to spend a cocktail hour.
Well, we are...
Yeah, so now I have in lieu of fun. I don't have cocktails or fun.
We don't have, but we're gonna have fun again soon.
Yeah.
I think so. We're the Omicron wave has crashed over us. We're all dead, but the wave is now receding, carrying our lifeless bodies with it, and we are now going to be allowed to have fun anymore. Just like 6 more weeks.
Like it might be interesting. I know we should Salon or Omega or Rho.
I just think of Omicron. My metaphor is as like this trolley that's like, and
like,
you know, somebody did pull the switch, and I feel like we're like right about to go.
So from now on, people, when you have good trolley metaphors, you have to send them to me, because I got to produce. I mean, I don't know why I did daily trolley problem as the hashtag rather than like semi-annual trolley problem.
I swear, so I would love to continue talking about trolley problem, because in fact I have a serious thing to talk about in terms of the trolley problem, but I do really want to ask Virginia if she could repeat the story as to why page 88.
Oh, why page 88? Well,
that is Virginia's inexplicable Twitter handle.
Yeah. Okay. One thing that a friend of mine whose name is also has a kind of doofy kid name for his Twitter handle says is that, you know, if you were on it really early when it was a strip club, you were not using your name. You were not like, oh, time to promote the work of Professor Scott Shapiro, and I'll put my real things in there. It was like your eBay. It was like on eBay. It's the same name I have on eBay, because like when you first got on eBay or Craigslist or something, you weren't like, this is going to be a professional feather in my cap. You were like, I hope they don't catch me. Right?
I say so.
So why page 88 as opposed to loose leaf notebook 86?
I mean, also, I wish it was just like, because on the Bible, when you flip it open numerologically to 88, you'll find that something about me is there. No, it's just my middle name and my birthday, August.
Page.
It has caused me some problems. I'm Pet Noodle. I love Pet Noodle. That's definitely an early Twitter adopter. Yes. Okay, good. Thank you, Dr. Doom. 88 is code for thank you very much, Heil Hitler. HH is the alphabet. So that was not something I expected to run into on Twitter. This freaking strip club, you can't change your name.
Right. That, which is a problem, by the way. I think in most strip clubs you are actually allowed to change your sobriquet, but
masquerade place, you should be.
I don't have much experience, but that's been my.
Every strip club I have ever worked in, you are allowed to change your name.
Right on. Yeah,
but
right,
no,
yeah.
page 88. So, yeah, I mean, I like, you know, don't you know people who still have like their very old Hotmail account and their name is like Malcolm Gladwell's is my Jamaican guy. I'm one of them. You know, he had someone set it up for him.
But what is that? It's not page 88, but like it's something like that challenge where you stick your finger at the certain page and then you describe what's on that page or take a quote from the page.
How do you make every decision in your life, Scott? Glenn has not been doing his tarot or his numerology correctly, right? You're supposed to like Bible, you flip to get advice, and if you point to something about begat, linen, flax, wool, don't mix them, blah, and then
the Chardonnays part, right? Yeah.
Wait, what is it again? Chardonnays.
Chardonnays, yeah.
That's the don't mix flax and wool.
Yeah, flax and linen. I think it's.
I think
bad stuff. Bad stuff happens.
Or linen and flax
are the same thing.
Yeah, then it's flax and wool, linen and wool, right?
Okay. That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite of all of them. My favorite Jewish holiday is Tisha B'Av, but I'm open to other ones.
So Tisha B'Av, for those who are not Jewish or former Jews here, is a holiday of memorializing all the terrible things that have ever happened to the Jewish people.
It's like the Holocaust Remembrance Day of the Jewish people. I mean,
from before the Holocaust.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's like the day of disaster. So that's where you fast.
But I also like, right, and you lie down and you are unhappy and you are supposed to listen only to, you can use your phone. That's why it's a great one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you can use your phone. That's right.
I don't mind the fasting if you can just stare at your phone all day. I mean, what else do you want to do? But you have to listen to that something on Zion song that was pretty sorry.
Yeah.
I think of as from
Babylon, Zion.
Babylon, yes.
Yeah.
And also,
I like Verdi's version of it better, though.
Lamentations is also a very beautiful song. It's a very mournful tune. That's actually very nice. But for people, for the young people out in the audience, when you used to fast, okay, that meant you not only didn't eat or drink, but you didn't have a phone. There was only network television during the day. And it was like soap operas or like you got on UHF, got like Spanish wrestling.
In the Middle Ages, they only had one network television channel. And, in the Pale of Settlement, where the Russians are about to invade again, it was bad. The TV was not good. So, this is why large numbers of people converted to Christianity to avoid the necessity of fasting without.
That's all it is. That is the allure of Christianity, and plus your flax and your wool. you
can weave them together. Yeah.
But it was actually Tu B'Shvat is what we really just missed.
Yeah. So Tu B'Shvat. So can I actually?
Do you want to hear my sing the songs?
Please go ahead, and I will join you.
It was just Tu B'Shvat Higia Chag HaIlanot. That's all I know.
There we go.
Tu B'Shvat Higia Chag HaIlanot. The thing about Tu B'Shvat, so for people who don't know now, by the way, what you're doing is you're triggering a lot of trauma right now. And trauma is going to come out of me right now. So I just warn you that in the next 2 minutes, like, unpleasantness will come. So, but the thing is, for everyone, Tu B'Shvat is 2:15 in the month of Shvat, which tends to be like March, right? And it's like where in the Middle East, that would be like the beginning of spring. In the United States, there's still kind of like crummy winter weather, okay? So
like the holiday of the trees is how it's frequently described, but in the East Coast, Mid-Atlantic region, that's going to be like the trees are completely bare. There's no reason to have a holiday for the trees in frickin' January and February.
And so what they did was every year, so of course, like we sang all the songs because I went to a Jewish school, Tu B'Shvat Hagi'a Chag HaEilan, we did the whole thing. But then they gave us these snacks that are Israeli snacks, which are like absolutely inedible. And every year I wanted to like it. So have you
Beasley?
ever... No, it wasn't Beasley. Beasley's good. But have you ever had a carabine?
Oh,
Have you ever had carabines are almost like chocolate.
Except they don't taste good.
Wait, because it's milk-kicked or something? Or
that's parv.
But it grows on trees in the region.
But it's also, isn't it the parv chocolate?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. It's the parv chocolate. It's also like the kind of only kind of Israeli chocolate, but the thing, it's indigenous, and so they would give it to you every year as a treat, and you were supposed to like really love it. But it doesn't actually. It tastes like what chocolate would taste like if it were tree bark. And I hated Tu B'Shvat because Tu B'Shvat was the day that they pull where they trick you, where they tease you. So I'm sorry for that trauma, that unpleasantness.
My favorite thing that we talk about Tisha B'Av and all the suffering that has befallen the Jewish people, and then it quickly goes to we had to have carob, not chocolate, and then you're pretty close to doing that. You didn't have the real Oreos for a long time, right?
I never had the real Oreos till I was in my 20s.
Yeah, by the way, halal marshmallows here, in case
Virginia, just in case you have not seen, if you want to understand the depths of Scott's Jew trauma, just watch his Where's the Lie, which is about motorcycling through Berkeley for brisket before Shabbos. And getting stopped by the cops at extreme speeds because he needs to get to brisket bonanza. So you gotta just check that out. So, so we have one of you whose favorite Jewish holiday is Tisha B'Av, and another one whose least favorite Jewish holiday is Tu B'Shvat. I just want to put on the record that my favorite Jewish holiday is Shmini Atzeret because it has it doesn't observe anything known. No one's really sure what it's doing there on the calendar. It's just there to make sure Jewish children miss another day of school.
The whole reason I got into Tu B'Shvat is that and Simchat Torah also, but is that it's about missing school. My kids are in Hebrew day school, and every time they got a day off that I didn't know what it was, I felt like I would say to someone, why are they have this day off? And it was always Tisha B'Av. So then I was like, Tisha B'Av is just the sign under which don't go to school. And that's just what it means. But there's other ones. I don't think
So for other people, it's a dating thing. So Simchas Torah is like a big dating.
It's a dance holiday. It's a big dance party.
It's a big Simchas Torah dance party. It's really So I mean, like I realize that that there's so many different ways to hate the Jewish holidays.
Right, as parents, when your kids have to stay home.
No, that's right. So it's.
I mean, honestly, the word holiday to Jewish families means something different than it does to non-Jewish families. And I know he's canceled and we're not supposed to like him anymore. But the person who completely captured this is Woody Allen in Annie Hall, where he has an imagined dialogue between his family and the Goyish girlfriend, Diane Keaton's family, and and Diane Keaton's mother says to Woody Allen's mother, "What are you going to do for the holidays?" And she responds, "We're going to fast," and it's just, it captures this Jewish holidays are frickin' work. It's terrible.
May I say something on behalf of those of us, meaning only me, who've converted many times to many different religions?
Yeah, you've gone back and forth. Pick a side, girl.
Pick the side, met with various clergy people, changed my identity entirely. Page 88 all the way through, but the religion changes. I will say that Christmas, while it has a reputation for being a happy day, has for at least 3 or 4 decades, the church, I have never heard a Christmas night sermon that is not about how there's pressure to be happy on this day, but we all have to acknowledge that it just brings us deep depression. And so, yes. And so there's a weird thing where
it's the opposite of Rosh Hashanah, where every Rosh Hashanah drash is, you only come here on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. We never see you the rest of the year. What's the matter with you? You think you're good enough Jews because you show up twice a year.
There's a lot of mental health. Okay, I'm so glad someone agreed with me, because the sermon, right? The Christmas holiday is now about pretending to be happy but really being depressed. That is the whole idea of it. So
fascinating.
And the sermon always turns from, it starts with, we know you're supposed to be happy, but just this year, let's acknowledge that. And I was I think I first acknowledged that I was sad, but was supposed to be happy when I was 9. And I've done it every year since. And that's what Christmas just is.
Wow.
I think it's time to call off the idea that we're pretending to be happy. We're always confronting our misery in light of the fact that we're pretending to be happy.
But isn't, this is actually, since you've turned the conversation serious on that, isn't that baked into the structure of Christmas, that it's the darkest time of the year, so we light it up, and it's kind of a, in the depths of the sort of tectonic layer of the way we celebrate it. Not that I do. There's an assumption that you're likely to be miserable at this time of year, and so we have to cheer you up.
I think we overshot the mark, because lighting one candle against the darkness is a beautiful idea, where you could be things are all pretty dark, but it's we're going to get through this. And I had one sort of happy encounter with my brother, done. But we set the houses ablaze and pretend it's not happening. And then also producing Santa for children and people around you, especially your children who are in Hebrew day school, and then having them be disappointed by the gifts. And also Christmas is always already ruined. So there's this other set piece many Jews don't know about, which is that you're always on the brink of ruining Christmas or having it ruined for you. So
why is that?
Through many long Seders, and nothing's ever fragile, 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 ruined. But
that is such a brilliant observation. That is such a brilliant observation. There is that sense of the kind of Christmas needs to be a magical time, and it needs to be a magical experience, whereas Jewish holidays are much more kind of a sense of there's a degree of chaos and there's a degree of conflict, and it's not sanitized, I guess.
Yeah. Be yourself. You get to be yourself instead of oyster stew that you drink a certain way, and also the way therapists deal with. There's just so many things you have to do to keep yourself cloaked from your family, from toxic parents, from just the therapy setup before Christmas really would make you think you're going to your execution. So I feel it must be possible without either. I don't know. Maybe it needs to be more just a long, boring fasting Tisha B'Av, and then we can get Christmas, Christmas spirit, could be right back if we started to just make it a very low expectation.
So what are your both
we
of
can't
you?
have it. In Christmas we can't have
fun anymore.
Yes.
So what are your actual favorite holidays?
Oh.
Like, what are the holidays? I only have one that I have.
Let's hear yours.
I frickin' love the 4th of July.
Oh.
I have no reservations about the 4th of July because I love blowing things up.
Oh. Yeah.
And you know, it's got the whole baby cannon vibe. I like loud booming noises. I like fireworks. I love, and I'm a patriotic guy. And it requires, 4th of July requires nothing of me. And by the way, I live in the best city in the world for it.
I really disagree. I mean, it was an illegal insurrection.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, it was a successful January 6th.
No.
Why? I mean,
because the victors get to write the history.
okay.
Fine.
And you know, Declaration of Independence and all that jazz. And so we get to declare us. No, don't bring in the truth of the mythology into it. Come on.
Okay. Never mind.
I like Thanksgiving too because it's got like all the food and none of the ritual.
Yeah, that's
Which,
true.
you know, as somebody who grew up Jewish and like you have to do all the cooking and then you have to like jump through these hoops and do all this like stuff, and Thanksgiving is like just the good parts of Seder.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I like it too. I like it too. There's no the gifts, man, will kill you with Christmas. It is crazy. It's just insane, and there's no way around it. There's no way.
All right, so what are your all's favorite holidays? I've given you my two.
I like my daughter's birthday. She loves her birthday, and she's really great on everyone else's birthday, and she makes it really clear what she wants, and she almost always wants to do some kind of ATV, you know, off-road thing, which I love.
That's awesome.
So we did that, and she likes, well, we've talked about, she's the one who, like me, likes, you know, kind of like Coney Islandish stuff and like rides and amusement parks and stuff. So we do that, and she's just like she's in herself in her birthday. Like she's just fully integrated birthday girl on that day. It's like it makes sense that it's her birthday. She's happy to be getting older. She's like present to every minute of the fun of this the day I was born.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
How about you, Scott?
Oh, I have something to say about birthdays, and it has to do with Gramsci, but after you.
Whoa, that's turning heavy.
So I'm not a holiday person.
Okay.
I don't. But when I was a religious Jew years ago, my favorite was something called Shavuot, which comes 7 weeks after the end of Passover,
and of which Tom Lehrer wrote the great line, "I spent Shavuos in East St. Louis, a charming spot, but truly not the spot for me."
Please know, ladies and gentlemen, that Shavuos and Shavuot is a very interesting class distinction we just heard of the S and the T there.
Yeah.
This Scott being very fancy and yeshiva-ish with his T's.
Right, no. So that's the thing. There's a whole politics about whether you use the T and the S. And I thought it would be a bit show-offy if I used the S, so I did.
It doesn't rhyme with St. Louis if you use unless you call it St. Louot.
But with the reason why I liked it the best is because you got, God, I'm such a loser. You got to stay up all night learning. Like, that was the thing. You spent the entire night learning, and then you went to sleep at like 7 a.m. after I was spending the whole night learning, and that was so much fun. So I like that.
It was like a big sleepover party.
Yeah, it was like a sleepover seminar. And we
you don't do those at the Yale Law School.
Right, because of the pandemic. We haven't done a sleepover seminar. Right. I haven't done that with my students for a while.
All right, so here's the next question. This is the David Plotz question. He likes to ask this question. If you got to create a new holiday and put it on the calendar, what would it be?
Wow. Like, right, you have to go through, like, what things do you think are worthy of remarking that aren't otherwise remarked on? Or what kind of things
would it be to honor somebody? Would it be like, I'll make election day a holiday so that everybody can vote? Would it, there's a lot of like, would it be something absurdist?
Well, wait, you brought up election day, and everything beyond making election day a national holiday where we all get the day off is now immoral. So there's only one choice in this trolley problem. Can you do an obviously great thing to help save democracy, or can you celebrate some, obscure rock star that only you like? I think I'm going to go for the first.
Okay, so can we all agree that if, like, making Election Day a holiday is actually not about holidays, it's really just about the right to vote, so it doesn't count?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just go further. So my colleague, Bruce Ackerman, has this idea of Deliberation Day, whereas, like, it's before the election, where you actually meet, like, it's financed so that there are different facilitators of different debates all around the country, and you get the day off to go and talk and debate issues. That seems to me like a really interesting, intriguing idea.
But don't you think that the people who most need it wouldn't attend?
Well, it's so much about politics is about modeling behavior. It would be modeling a way of thinking about elections and politics. That is, it's something that you can talk about, you can reason about. And so that would be healthy just in terms of the culture.
Just even introducing the idea of what is it, deliberation and deliberative, and that we get to do it, right? That it's not like that's the other, it's not just that somebody or another person forces your hand on the ballot. It's that you get to have this ruminative time. But it is interesting to think of the people who most need that, because we would think of ourselves as not needing that because we deliberate all the time. And so would, a Fox News viewer. So it would be for people who see themselves as wanting a concentrated period of time to think it through.
I also like the regional holidays. Like, I think it's pretty cool that, Boston has Massachusetts has Patriots Day, which the rest of the country doesn't celebrate. And, I always...
Or something?
I've always loved Juneteenth, even before... that's kind of gone national at this point. But, that was celebrated on different days in different parts of the South, depending on when, I guess the official one is when Union troops reached Galveston. But there were other ones that were local to particular communities. And I think that stuff is, I'm a total sucker for, very particular kind of local observations of holidays, which like they don't tend to last that long, but you get them for a while.
Does New York? Let's think. Does New York have something like that? Like a New York. I guess St. Patty's. Well, but St. Patty's Day isn't obviously.
You have the Feast of San Gennaro. You have.
San Gennaro, right? The Feast of San Gennaro.
It's not. It's New York, but it's in. But it's.
Yeah, it's the
very special way.
It's right. It's the week, for people who don't know. It's the week where New York Italian Americans get together to make sure you can't walk through a part of Lower Manhattan.
Right, where the Irish do that on St. Patrick's Day.
Right. Yeah. So.
It's just like this. It's very egalitarian blocking traffic thing.
Well, we should go to, speaking of blocking traffic, we should go to audience questions. So I'm bringing up the first three members of the audience in terms of vote totals, upvote totals. Richard, you, despite your love of a certain he who shall not be named, you get the first question today.
Well, first, I have a bone to pick with with Virginia about the Goldberg variations, about the Gould recordings.
What? Wait a second.
Wait.
Oh,
So what did Virginia say that you are objecting to? So for those of you who don't know, Glenn Gould made 2 recordings of the Goldberg variations. The first recording as a very young Canadian pianist, and his last recording, during which is highly eccentric, during which he sang through a lot of it. They are both wonderful. They are both very different from any other recordings of the Goldberg variations, and they are very different from each other. So what did Virginia say about them that you object to?
They exist entirely so that people can pontificate about them. It was just the greatest gift to his slavish adorers, was giving us a lifetime worth of material to debate around the 54 and 83 recordings. All right, Richard.
I love them. I love them both. So, but the 55, that's like the frame. That's the way that we think of the Goldberg variations, and we can't hear the Goldberg variations without the 55 in the back of our heads. So, if we were to throw out all of them, kind of have to throw out the 81, because the 55 is just we can't think about the Goldberg variations without it.
Right. That's like, it'd be like throwing out the Goldberg variations.
Yeah.
Themselves. But but like writing over, composing over, recording over, very Gouldian. I think having different versions of it and having them have incongruities. But wait, did you hear me talk about the Goldberg variations on This Is Critical, or I wrote something about it too? Yeah. Oh, thanks for tuning in.
Sure.
Yeah, that's. I actually have now been in touch with the Glenn Gould Foundation, because they want me to do something for his, and this gets to the Gramsci thing, his 90th birthday. 90th, is that right? He would have been 90? Yes, is, I think, this year. So, and it was my son, the same person I was talking about the trolley problem with, who got me interested in Gould. So now my son and I are doing a little bit of a dialogue about Gould for this site, because the Glenn Gould Foundation has started this thing called Instrumentals. I don't know if anyone has teenage kids, but it is, to me, exactly what a mental health program for kids should be, which during the pandemic, just to introduce them to mostly classical music, and frankly, mostly Bach and Gould, as a way to deepen their appreciation of music and let the mental health benefits follow. Don't start with therapy. Start with an appreciation of the actual world and the things before us.
And Gramsci fits into this how?
Well, Gramsci does, because we were talking.
Because he wrote Prison Diaries?
No, because I was thinking about Glenn Gould's 90th birthday, right? And I was like, birthdays.
Gramsci's older.
Birthdays are weird. Like, what do we, who cares? Like, what kind of pagan heathens are we that we're like, and then the day that I was born and made it. Like Roman calendar, it's important that August 8th I was born, and the next August 8th everyone has to say happy birthday, your holy birthday. And then I looked and saw that it was Gramsci's birthday, like someone in the New York Times or whatever. And I thought, well, Gould would be into the fun of celebrating or thinking about birthdays. But Gramsci should not make it known when his birthday is, because that is some serious, that is not good for the cause. We shouldn't even have birthdays. We're all born at the same time and progress. We don't have special.
And yet, without birthdays, we wouldn't have the opening line of Theodora, which is, "'Tis Diocletian's natal day, proclaim throughout of Antioch a feast and solemn sacrifice to Jove." And I will preserve the whole of birthdays just to retain that line, written by one William Congreve, by the way, for Handel.
Oh, very cool. Wait, he did the book. He wrote
he wrote the libretto, I think, for Theodora, I think.
Oh.
Somebody's got to check me on that, but
I don't know.
But Richard, thank you for saying that. And look at it's like GG at 90, like for the Glenn Gould Foundation. They're doing so many cool things and having so much cool programming. And because it's Canada, they just, petition the government and they say, like, Glenn Gould's 90th birthday, how about $100 million?
And the Canadian government's like right.
Arts, stop the presses. Our whole nation is about Glenn Gould. And so while we're here trying to keep people from overturning democracy, they are celebrating Glenn Gould. And also,
just think what they're going to do on the 100th.
Fingerless gloves. At my insistence, they're selling the swag of fingerless gloves, right?
Oh, wow.
Who doesn't want to dress like Gould all the time?
Yeah.
And
and the overcoat and.
Oh my God! And just the pill problem.
The hat.
I mean,
and you have to wear it in August.
Yes.
And also, when you play the piano, you have to sing in fashions that appear unrelated to what you're playing, which is what makes the second recording seems as quite so spooky.
And also,
you also need
his childhood chair has to create his fetish chair.
Yeah, you got to have the squeaky chair.
All right, Charles, the floor is yours.
So, I guess, do you see any like reasons for optimism vis-a-vis the midterms? I guess kind of piggybacking off of what was going to be Richard's question, but yeah. And Ben, I'd like to extend my condolences about Chris Argyris.
No more to me than to anybody else in the Greek chorus or among the. I mean, I literally knew Chris only from this show, which is to say no better or worse than any of you guys did. So back at you. Virginia, what do you think? Hope for the midterms?
Hope for the midterms. What I don't understand about the midterms is why did everyone just call it all over? Like, what are we supposed to do? I feel like someone just told me we lost, like just the bad guys won and there's nothing we can do about it. But I honestly, this is critical, by the way. The new podcast is about culture. So that's why I'm talking about Glenn Gould more than the former president or the midterms. Do you guys fear that? I don't know. I feel like that one's just gone. I sort of write off the midterms and write off Roe. Those are the two things that I just try to live in the future and be like,
I actually don't write off the midterms because I write off Roe. I actually think I don't say that with any glee, but I think after the oral argument, nobody should assume that Roe is going to exist after June 30th. And I do think we have three things. Look, if you held the midterms today, it would be a wipeout. But there are three things that are likely to be different. One is we shouldn't assume that everybody's going to be stuck at home 10 months from now. The Omicron wave has crashed over us and is carrying our lifeless bodies out to sea, but they are allowed to have fun once they get out to sea. And so the second thing is that will have economic implications. And I don't know that the economy will not be or appear to be in a substantially different place 10 months from now than it is now. And the third is that for their virtues or vices, 6 justices of the Supreme Court, either for philosophical consistency, for radicalism, or for hatred of women, depending on one's perspective on conservative jurisprudence, are actually going to overturn Roe v. Wade. And that will have some impact on millions of previously not single issue voters who, and I count myself among them, by the way. I've always never been a single issue abortion voter. But if I lived in a state where abortion were meaningfully dependent on my vote, absolutely that would affect, how I voted. And so
I've heard people say that in Kentucky, that you mean once that huge thing is off the table, that people's minds will clear out to have other considerations, at least, that they take to the polls.
Voters are not morons. And for many years, many
Well,
women...
Ben, let's not get carried away. I mean, that is a strong statement. And I know
Okay.
you're the July guy.
Fewer voters are morons than we sometimes assume. How about that?
Right.
And not all voters are morons. And at least some voters have been pretty tactical about abortion, which is to say the right to abortion doesn't depend on my vote. It depends on the majority of the Supreme Court. And so now you change that. And for large numbers of people, that one hypothesis is that that's a substantially mobilizing thing. It used to be that if you were pro-life, that was often a single issue. You were often a single issue voter. If you're pro-choice, you're much less likely to be. I don't know that that doesn't change in June. So I think that perhaps because we write off Roe, there's more to the midterms than we are now appreciating.
I like that. That's a great way to think of it. And by the way, you don't have to write, even if you write off Roe, that's where may I introduce you to misoprostone, the $1 abortion pill that is available everywhere and that people, even as we speak, are getting to states where abortions will be hard to come by. It's incredibly effective, and every good feminist now knows that self-managed abortions are the future of that procedure. And one more thing in their favor, we no longer have to actually just beg Clarence Thomas and Brett Kavanaugh for like the right to this tiny procedure on 2 square inches of mucous membranes in one organ of our body. What an amazing thing. Go get some misoprostone and send it down to Texas. It's $12 abortions. You have to take 12 of them. Yeah, this will be a failed war on drugs where we can cheer for the drugs.
David Botts, the floor is yours.
Well, thanks very much, Virginia. It is so wonderful to see you. It's been a little while since I've seen you on In Lieu of Fun, so great to see you. One bonus question. So it's been you have not done Trumpcast in now just over a year. So how do you feel about not doing that and doing what you are doing now?
I made a promise to myself that if we ever got a vaccine, I was just having a really hard time. And I thought if we ever had a vaccine and we ever had a new president, that just to honor the dysphoria of those days before the election, I would enjoy the difference. I wouldn't hold on to the trauma and say it's still happening, like the lambs are still crying, Clarice kind of thing, which has seemed to be possible to do. It really is crazy that I feel as though Democrats enjoyed and sane Americans enjoyed Biden's victory for, a minute and a half. And pretty soon we're it's going to be worse next time. I mean, I love Barton Gellman. Who doesn't like reading a Barton Gellman Cassandra despair treatise? On the other hand, here's one thing that's different from last year is that, one thing the next election will be different from this past election is there won't be a January 6th that looks just like January 6th, right? Because there'll be tanks or there'll be something, or maybe they'll put another Capitol Police officer there. It just won't go down the exact same way. And similarly, we are doing some stuff to forestall the Barton Gellman nightmare. So anyway, the point is, I wanted to, for a while, to say it's not happening. It's not happening anymore. There's a vaccine. There were 0% of people were vaccinated. It's a year ago. A year ago, 0% of Americans were vaccinated. So, I didn't want to spend my time worrying that 20% or 25% are not vaccinated now when it was 0% last year. I just wanted to notice the difference. And I also wanted to notice that Donald Trump possibly has less power now that he doesn't control the greatest nuclear arsenal in the world. Possibly. Or maybe he's a big deal on his...
If you strike me down, I will come back more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
I mean, it's crazy. I just keep, I just had some debate with someone else who was like, Trump's more powerful than ever. He runs the party. Where I just like, I think that the Oval Office, veto power, and all those nukes are a pretty good addition to anybody's powers. But maybe he's like really like killing it, occasionally appearing at Mar-a-Lago. And I don't know why we just have to say it's going to be worse next time, or January 6th was a run-up, or it was a practice, or whatever they keep saying. It just doesn't seem like it's going to be that. And what if we could just put him to bed for a little bit? So anyway, that's what I promised myself. And I also, there are people who are so good at political analysis. You know, those people that like, they know every district in Texas, and when like they describe the redistricting, they just like are like, oh no, it went past that street and around to the And I'm thinking of Ari Berman. Oh my God, that guy! It's crazy. Like his head, it's just like this gerrymandered map. I didn't think I was as good at it as they were, and I wanted to go back to working on culture. And also, so much of the political story with Trump was culture. So I figured if you know how like politics are downstream from culture, I just thought, why not drink from upstream? How about that?
Wow, there you go. It's a good line, Virginia.
Water. Thank you. So that's
all right. Ducks with Pants has the last question tonight, but before he gives the last question, I just want to thank Ducks with Pants for the In Lieu of Fun theme song, which I have been listening to multiple times a day as a result of editing the In Lieu of Fun audio podcast, which you should all subscribe to. And so it is good to see your face, Ducks, and I'm grateful to you for writing, composing, and performing We're Not Allowed to Have Fun Anymore.
Well, thank you, Ben. I'm glad you appreciate it. I'm glad it's not driving you crazy listening to it over and over, that it is being appreciated. And it makes me feel a little less like I'm just hijacking the show for self-promotional purposes.
Oh, no. Please use the show. Put it on your website, composer of the performer, of songwriter of the In Lieu of Fun theme. Please use it for all possible self-promotion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the show just for my Twitter feed. So.
That's right. Problems, of course, but yeah. Well, first I wanted to say, Virginia, I thought your idea of having people, teenagers, listen to instrumental music as sort of, shall we say, mindfulness exercise was a great one. But in reality, since the last time I got to speak with you on the program, I was able to introduce this duck here that I just received for my birthday. Nice. It would be a crying shame if I didn't take the opportunity to introduce to you another duck that I recently received via the mail. This completely useless artifact that I got made up mostly for vanity purposes.
Wait.
Theory to share off, to send off to radio stations if they still exist. So this is for the younger people in the audience what they call a CD. This thing you actually put into.
You actually put it in a machine,
and it plays and it spins and mechanical things happen.
I'm putting this in the chat for people. Go ahead.
So, but this is my forthcoming album. I've been putting out singles for those of you who follow my Twitter feed, and I've been plugging it incessantly. And for those of you who have difficulty making out what's happening, this is a duck wearing a spacesuit carrying a guitar, who is obviously overlooking the Earth, and the title of the album is called Alien from an Alternate Earth. And then we also have on the back here a duck playing bass, serenading the moon. These are illustrations done by my friend Mario Noce, who's a wonderful artist. Also has played on my...
Is he allowed to have fun anymore?
I don't know.
Just checking.
I mean, he may be prohibited, but I suggest you hire him for everything. He's, as I said, a talented musician. He played guitar on a previous album of mine and has covered some of my songs at EG Fest. So anyway, That's a shameless plug and continuing the tradition of me sharing a new duck with Virginia Heffernan when she comes on the show. I can't promise I will have another one next time, but I will do my best.
Well, we'll check. The next time Virginia's going to come on the show, we'll give you a few hours notice so you can like run out to the store and get a new duck.
So you can.
I mean, truth be told, I do have many ducks that I could.
You can pretend one that is new. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we'll fake it if it's not true.
Anyway, but it's a pleasure to see you again, Virginia. Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you for helping me with my career, such that I have the In Lieu of Fun theme song author.
Yeah, that's a good credit.
All right, we're gonna leave it there. Virginia Heffernan, you're a great American. Oh, Steve Lawton has shown up on the screen. Hello, I'm not sure how you appeared.
I have no idea.
It's good to see your face, though.
You asked me for a question. The question was trolley problem in Ukraine, but I think it's too late.
Oh, well, pose it, and we'll use it to riff on the way out.
Is the Ukraine situation a trolley problem?
Final thoughts. Is it a trolley problem, Virginia?
Yes.
Scott?
I mean, I haven't been keeping up. Has there been a trolley going into Ukraine?
Actually, I saw an image of a giant cargo train carrying tanks toward the Ukrainian border on the Russian side. So I don't know if that quite counts as a trolley. It's more of a ominous supply chain issue.
So the idea would be that, like, the United States could intervene, in which case it might harm somebody.
We could throw the switch and divert that train to a different border, so Putin could menace a different country.
Right.
Yes.
Dude, that's Italy. Russia, you're invading Italy. That's why the food is so good.
But does it have to be 5 other countries to make the?
It's just kind of it's just Russia running over the. I'm sorry,
because the switch guy.
Let's just say there's nothing funny about interstate war.
That's true, and you and Ona said it was done. We were finished with it because the internationalists got rid of it. So it's not going to happen, right?
No, what we showed was how historically anomalous this period is, and we claim that the anomaly is not that it doesn't happen, that it happens so infrequently. Is an indication of a profound change in the way in which we think of war. So, right now, people are thinking that Russia is acting like such a rogue actor that we need to decouple Russia from the banking system or something like that. That's a view about the kind of behavior that interstate war is now. That would have been very difficult to whip up 100 years ago. So anyway, that's just the point, and that is also why, Crimea. I mean, still, the West doesn't recognize Crimea. So it's not like the rules have been ignored. It just means is that not everything can be solved with rules.
On that note, Virginia Heffernan, it's great to see you. We'll do it again soon. We will be back on Wednesday. I have no idea who the guest is going to be. I just know I will be on a flight, so I won't be here. But that'll be 46 hours and 53 minutes from now. And until then, Scott?
We can't have fun anymore, but thank God we can have